Welcome to Metaphysical Soul Speak. I'm your host, Alanna Fox Starks. Hey guys, I hope that you're doing really well in this moment in time and space, and that you are able to acknowledge what's happening with a lot of love and compassion, not only for yourself, but for your fellow man, especially your fellow humans who are not aware or awake, spiritually speaking, just yet. And can you imagine, you know that you're awake spiritually, or at least you're in the process of awakening right now, right? And we're all in different stages of it. We're all going to go to the same exact place and be the same exact level of spirituality, right? But we all go at a different pace. Like, it's not really a race, but, you know, in a race, there's stragglers at the back. That's where I'm usually. And there's people that are the front runners, and they go to the front, and they're the winners. They're the first ones there. But in the end, everybody crosses that finish line, right? But can you imagine being the person that has no clue what's going on, even with all these crazy ascension symptoms that we've been going through for years, and they keep going to their doctors, and their doctors are like, yeah, but I find nothing in your blood work. What you're going through is just maybe in your head. How scary that must be, right? And I was contacted by somebody by the name of Isabel, and she asked me if I'd ever heard of ECK. No, I don't know what that is. I might have to look into it. And Isabel, if you're listening, please send me a link to this. I forgot to ask in my reply back to you. But she also mentioned that our plasma in our blood will be changing, and it will give us the appearance of having a depressed immune system, also something I had not heard. And also that we might have more phlegm in the beginning. And I asked God about the phlegm thing, and basically I was told that we are in the process of physically purging out a lot of toxins, right? And when you're purging out toxins, you're not going to feel so hot, right? And even though your neighbor might be purging out the same toxins because they're getting ready to jump into fifth dimension and they're still sleeping spiritually, they don't know what the hell's going on. They must feel like crap just like we feel like crap, but they don't know what's going on. So they're trying to keep up appearances. They're keeping up with the Joneses. They're getting in the car and they're heading off to work, and they're feeling like crap, and they're really angry and frustrated because their doctor tells them it's in their head, because there's no physical evidence as to what we're all going through. And what is it? There's no name for it except spiritual ascension symptoms. So I'm asking you guys to have love and compassion and hold space and hold grace for yourself, your loved ones, even your pets. Animals are going through a hard time right now too. And a lot of animals don't know what the hell's going on. As well as your neighbors, your friends, your family, and your community at large. All the people around you are going through the same physical symptoms, even though they don't really know what the hell's going on. And they'll lie to you. They'll say, oh, everything's fine. todo bien, todo tranquila. Yeah. Everything's fine. Everything's peaceful already. Everything's good. But it kind of isn't. You could see it in people's eyes that they're just like my neighbors. They're not really spiritually aware, but they're very sweet people. They're good people. They do what they can for the community. They have an amazing store. And I mean, on the days I can't go all the way down to the mall, and I just hop on over there. I support my local people, and they're so sweet, very, very compassionate. Like when we don't have money on hand, they will let us run a tab, and then we pay it, when it hits, $10 or $20. Well, very sweet people, but I could see it in their faces yesterday when I went over there, and they were just like, they were exhausted, and it was 8 o'clock at night, and the guy was sitting there behind the cash register drinking a 40 ounce, or the equivalent in liters, how many ever liters. I mean, seriously, like 40 ounces, a new 12 ounce here in Ecuador. I mean, everybody. There's like when someone says, hey, can I buy you a beer? They're going to hand you like almost 2 foot tall beer. It's always like that here. And you never feel it because we're like 8,400 feet above sea level, and you never get drunk. You just feel a little bit relaxed, and then you get really tired because you can't breathe oxygen because it pushes oxygen out of your bloodstream. It's not a good cycle, but a lot of people, they do this to cope with, they drink to cope, or some people turn to drugs just to cope with this. It's been crazy, these ascension symptoms. And what God told me is while we are going through this massive detox, I mean, I woke up this morning and it felt like I've been on a juice fast for weeks. That's how my body reacted. And I did nothing of the sort. I had some guarana for the last 2 days instead of coffee. Went back to coffee today. But I'm not eating anything out of the ordinary other than nuts. I have had my son roasted some almonds and made almond butter, which was incredible. And I had that on a piece of 9-grain bread yesterday. That was about it. I mean, nothing that's out of the ordinary for real. I have been eating bee pollen. So that is new. I'm up to, today will be my day where I can eat 50 whole grains of bee pollen. If you've ever seen bee pollen, the grains are itty bitty. And I started with 5 the first day. And when you have a lot of allergies like me, you never want to start with more than 5 grains. So my allergies have gotten better, actually, and it does increase and improve your allergies, but depends on where the bee pollen is taken from. I remember buying some from New Zealand once, and I was taking it every day until I looked at the label and it said New Zealand. I'm like, what? So basically, when I go to New Zealand, I won't be allergic to anything. I've built up an immunity to the pollens in New Zealand. I'm like, oh, that's ridiculous. So if you do need to quash your allergies in the area where you live, get bee pollen from where you live. Don't get it from another area. If you're in Los Angeles, don't get it from Sonoma County, because when you go to wine country, you're going to be fine. But in LA, you'll still have allergies. Different pollens, different plants, different area. So I don't know. This says that it's made, or at least the bottle or label was manufactured in Guayaquil, which means I might not be allergic to Guayaquil, but my allergies are still better here. So maybe it's the same kind of plants there as here. It's 4 hours. It's on the coast. I'm in the mountains. Who knows? But I've been taking bee pollen, but I do feel today extremely run down. And my friend told me he feels the same way. He's just Jude Dekoff, who has a starseed perspective. He was saying that he's been sick all week. He stayed home all week with this because of the ascension symptoms. And today we were hit again with the solar winds. And according to spaceweather.com, the sun did burp out another more solar winds coming our way. They say it's going to reach us probably on the 19th. So it looks like we might have 1 or 2 days break without having a bunch of cosmic energies coming our way. Thank God. it says that, yeah, we had an X-ray solar flare left today. So it'll be here in 4 days. And the solar wind speed is only 312 kilometers per second. It's a little bit less than yesterday. Let me see on spaceweather.com what else they've got. Let's see, the thermosphere climate index is cold. A lot of you are suffering from cold, so I can see that that's the truth. And it's the cosmic rays neutron counts today are high, just like yesterday. I'm trying to say, yesterday, by the way, I don't know if I reported this, there was 23 fireballs come into our atmosphere. Today we've only had 8 fireballs. So, hey, that's that. It's crazy that we're just looking at fireballs going into our atmosphere now. Where's the sun protecting us? Where's our magnetosphere protecting us? We're just sitting ducks out here in this part of the galaxy. It's pretty crazy. So, all right. I guess that's all I'm going to say from this website here. I guess Skylink has gotten in the way of people taking pictures of the Orion Stellar Nursery. David Blanchard didn't notice that there's going to be a lot of Starlink satellites slicing through his shots, so that's going to be a problem. And Starlink is, I think, Elon Musk's project of basically having 6G network all over the whole planet, and he launched 1 million satellites. Maybe not 1 million, I can't remember. I reported it, and now I can't remember how many there were. The Schumann resonance is really, really bizarre today, guys. I'm looking at this just going, what the actual hell? All right, so disclosurenews.it, they basically said that at midnight, they said that, the chart stopped updating at 19:30, and a slight activity apparently started again. And it's not uncommon to have blank hours every now and then, obviously, because that's been happening. And also, when we have supernova shockwaves hitting us and energy from the sun, CMEs, and solar winds and whatnot, and God knows what else, quasars, pulsars, maybe we don't have instruments to measure all of it, right? So there might be a lot more than we are aware of. And then at 7 a.m., they said we're still in blackout mode. It's been 12 hours from the last update. And the last massive outage was almost on the same day in October. From the 13th to the 18th, they had hardly any information coming through. At noon, they reported it was pitch black, and at 1700 hours, they wrote basically no changes. We are now beyond 21 hours of darkness. When you go and look at the Schumann resonance, it's just a black blank screen. And the only thing they were able to record was 11. That's a nice, beautiful number there. As far as numerology is concerned, that is a master number, so there's something to that. I keep refreshing and refreshing and refreshing heartmath.org, but to no avail. Sorry, this data is temporarily unavailable. No information at all. Back to that. In A Course in Miracles, today we're on lesson 212. And you may find this through the Foundation of Inner Peace at acim.org. I am not a body. I am free. For I am still as God created me. And the only thought to think about today is taken from lesson 192. I have a function God would have me fill. I have a function God would have me fill. I seek the function that would set me free from all the vain illusions of the world. Only the function God has given me can offer freedom. Only this I seek, and only this will I accept as mine. I am not a body. I am free. For as God created me. So that's again lesson 212 in A Course in Miracles. All right, so I'm going to ask God a couple of questions about this phlegm situation. He showed me briefly that the phlegm is a response to the toxins in our body. That's what normally it is. So when you get a germ or a microbe that shouldn't be there and your immune system responds to it, it will make you feel very, very sick as your body starts producing massive amounts of phlegm, which encapsulates the microbe or the virus or what have you. And you feel like your immune system is depressed in these moments because you're feeling so very sick and you just feel so blah. It's because your body's working overtime to take care of the invaders that were not invited into your body. So that's what happens like when your body produces phlegm in general, right? So because we are going through a physical transformation into the fifth dimension at this time, what's happening in our bodies is that each individual cell has to get rid of the toxins, and sometimes, depending on what kind of toxins they are, when they're being transmitted out of the fat cells, they are being encapsulated still with the phlegm, so we could cough it out. Depending on like if it's in our lungs, if it's in our sinuses, that's what's happening. Also, our plasma and our blood is changing, and our blood itself is changing. And God is showing me platonic solids for this, and He showed me the five-sided. Like, it's like becoming five-sided. But is there more? Okay, and then what about the dodecahedron? Is the red blood cells. So we're becoming more like the platonic solids. Instead of just a round, normal circle, we're like getting sharp edges to our blood and our plasma. That is at least the images I'm getting right now as I'm simultaneously talking to you and also asking, and these are the imagery that's coming forward. So we are going to feel a little bit run down. Right now, I normally have a 97.4 temperature lately. I always run a little cold because I'm a star seed, and also because I was infected, over 20 years ago on an army base in the United States. I really should not have been on that base, but I got infected, and I know they knew. They knew I was going to be infected. They wanted to see how whatever it was that I had was going to affect civilians, and so they infected my fiance at the time, and they gave him a shot, and he got better because they do have a cure for this. But they could not treat me because I was not the property of the Army. And this thing, I had a fever every day for like 2.5 years. And it was like a low-grade fever, but I was very, very, very sick, almost died. And now what it has done, it has changed my internal thermostat, I suppose that's what you would call it. And so I used to always run like, 97 something, and now I'm running like 97.4. I was a little bit higher. It's always a little bit like, actually, how everyone runs at 98.6 on average. I always ran around 90. I think I was always running high. When you're a starseed, you either run a little bit high or a little bit low. And I think I was always running at like around 99 or something. So any day I ever wanted to get out of school, because I felt like this is a good day for a mental health break, I could just go to the school and they would go, "Oh, look at you, you got a 99. We should probably send you home, you got a fever." Because they always said, "Oh, well, everyone's 98.6 and nothing more." And they went by that idea and standard, which was hilarious because I already knew, even on the days I felt my best, I was always running a little bit hot. But now I run cold. I'm normally 97.4, and today I'm 98.4. So that means I'm like a 1 degree fever, and I'm getting this feeling in my throat, like a swollen lymph node feeling. Even though if I touch my throat, I don't feel it, but I feel a general malaise sort of feeling. I'm hoping I could get the show out in time where my son and I can go see Star Wars in the theater tonight. It's in English. I think I mentioned it yesterday. He didn't come home in time, darn it. So I just had to go out and do some shopping and get some food for us. And instead, I came home and he's sitting on the couch going, "Are we going to go?" I'm like, "You're wearing flip-flops and shorts." And no, it starts in 10 minutes and takes 25 minutes to get to the theater when it's traffic. So I'm just that. Anyway, we didn't go yesterday. We're hoping to see Star Wars in the theater. It's been kind of a tradition since the very, very first Star Wars ever in the 1970s hit the theaters. And I saw it with his father in the same exact movie theater, in the exact same room. I watched it on opening night, and I never met his father until many, many, many years later, like 20 years past. And we figured it out that we had seen it on the same exact night at the exact same time. So it's been a long-standing tradition to watch Star Wars with my husband, who wasn't my husband when I was 8 years old or whatever. And he was 12 years older than me, and he was getting ready to go into the military, or he had been home on leave, I think. Maybe he had already been in the military for a couple years, and he was literally in the same exact theater, the exact hours I watched that movie. It blows my mind. The first time I ever saw Star Wars. So it's, in a weird way, it kind of connects me with my ex, and God rest his soul. I mean, he died literally 9.5 years ago. So crazy stuff, man. So I've got to go see the Star Wars. It's just a tradition, And speaking of Star Wars, today's episode is going to be about, basically, I'm going to dowse and ask for answers about things I heard in the program Cosmic Disclosure, where David Wilcock is speaking with Corey Goode. Corey Goode makes some outlandish claims, and yet he seems to be absolutely normal. He doesn't seem to be mentally ill or like he's schizophrenic, creating his own world. It's completely impenetrable. Usually people who are schizophrenic that make up their own world, it'll be elaborate. It'll sound real and fantastical at the same time. But if you start to question them, they get agitated and angry. And now I've watched 20, 30 hours of this footage, and he's constantly questioned, and he doesn't get agitated or angry. He doesn't display, he makes complete eye contact. He looks clean. I mean, like all the things I could think of from what I learned in school and when I worked with schizophrenics. For like a year, I worked with schizophrenics in a group home, and I got to see up close like how their minds work, at least those people. And I don't see anything wrong with what he's saying, but you know what? I'm going to do a dowsing session a day and see what I can. Just I'm going to make my mind a blank and open it up to learning more about this. Like, is this true? Is this real? Is it not? And it might spark your interest to learn more about Corey Goode if the results are, mostly positive. Like, yes, it's true. All these things are true that he's saying, but my God, it's fantastical. It sounds absolutely unreal. It's a compelling show. Whether it's real or not, it's completely compelling. So that's what we're going to do in a little bit. Let's see. There was something else I wanted to talk about today. Just the Ascension symptoms of being still nauseated, feeling like almost like there's two opposing dipole magnets on either side of my head going wah, 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 wah. That's what I feel like, even though it's not actually literally happening. It feels like I'm being messed with magnetically somehow. And even though I'm feeling really emotionally, I'm upbeat, I'm positive, I feel great. There's still, in some people have been reporting to me, a general emotional malaise still, like a depression. Like, this is still that purge. We're still going through this emotional purge, and it's been kind of crazy, like we're really trying to get through it, spiritually, and we have to forgive ourselves and others for anything in our past that has harmed us and has rendered us emotionally crippled in certain ways, like a lot of us still have PTSD. When I hear things exploding, I'll jump and react. If someone knocks at my door, it's like I start to reach for the machete, It's like, and not as much as I used to, but I've had the last, 6-7 years for me have been really hard. And, there's times when it's like, oh, someone's knocking on the door, they shouldn't be here, grab a weapon, right? And my son's the same way, and I won't say it out loud, but he will. He'll be like, okay. And only this past maybe 3 weeks, 4 weeks, have we kind of put the weapons away, and we don't have them anymore at arm's length, right? I know it sounds insane, but I mean, we do live in South America, and we live in a very safe city. Out of all the cities in the whole of South America, this whole continent, this is literally in the top 3 most safest cities. In fact, I think this is the safest city in all of South America where we live, even though we've seen some really effed up shit. I mean, stuff I don't really want to talk about, but, it's, everywhere, though, everywhere there's bad stuff. But I don't know. I mean, I have felt a lot more calm, relaxed, that tranquil feeling, that overwhelming peace feeling. The PTSD isn't as bad as it used to be. Aside from doing brainwave modifications, brainwave optimization with a psychologist last year, which really, really helped with PTSD. I haven't really done a whole lot this year, this year it's been a couple weeks, but in the past 6 months or so, I haven't really done a lot to continuously help it other than meditate, opening my heart and expanding my ideas of what peace is, how to allow peace into my body. And as I do that, and I have this idea and notion suddenly that the universe really is conspiring to help me and to help you and help all of us. The universe, God, the source, whatever you want to call it, your spiritual team, they are all in cahoots to help you succeed. When you keep your mind open to spiritual ideas, you cannot and will not fail. Failure is impossible. So resistance is futile when it comes to the peace. To steal a line from the board. Open your heart and your mind and your soul to that peace. Look at the sky. Look at the beautiful colors in the sky and just pull that baby blue color into your heart. Or the fluffy white clouds. Just pull that in and embrace it as yours. This is your birthright because you are a part of God and you are made from love. You are made from peace. I've been saying this all week, but only because it's true. I've noticed a lot of curly clouds. I don't know if you guys have ever seen Tibetan art where they draw the clouds with the little curly cues at the end, kind of like a little piglet's tail. And I mean, I'm looking at a cloud. It almost looks like something from Aladdin or from Himalayan art. It's like the clouds have these little curly cue ends today. I don't know why that happens. Sometimes it happens and it's super adorable. It's just like a normal cloud with a little curly cue end. And it's like over and over again in the same part of the sky. So it has something to do with the mountains and the way things are. But it's a gorgeous day here in South America. The climate is absolutely perfect. It's got that warm energy where we feel supported and loved. And I'm hoping that I transmit that to you as you listen to my voice, because I want you all to feel peace. I love you all. I'm going to be right back after this message with a pendulum session on cosmic disclosure right after this message. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's high time you did. It is the absolute easiest way to make a podcast. First of all, it's absolutely free. Second of all, they have creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or your computer. You guys have known that I've been doing this for 8 months using the Anchor.fm app right on my cell phone, and I have done it everywhere, right? I have recorded this in my living room, my bedroom, little cafes in Quito, Ecuador, all over Cuenca. It's so absolutely easy to make your podcast, and editing is just a snap. Anchor also will distribute your podcast for you, and it took me about 2.5 months to become syndicated, and now I'm available on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and many more, and so can you. You can make money from your podcast also, and there's no minimum requirement. You get paid from your very first listener. It is everything that you need to make a podcast all in one place. So please, if you are interested in making a podcast of your very own, do not hesitate to start with Anchor. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started today. All right, guys, I don't even know if you're going to believe this or not, but oh my God. I have recorded this section 2 different times. And in between, I recorded 11 seconds where I'm saying testing, 1, 2, 3, testing, and it came out perfect. Now I'm doing this on my phone, hoping my phone holds up. I'm trying to do a show about cosmic disclosure inside the secret space program. I feel like they're blocking me. I think that they heard, I sound like a paranoid lunatic right now, I'm aware, but I'm trying to record this on my phone now because it's not going through my laptop. I think they're spying on me. And you know what? Screw them. This information's already out there. I'm not putting out anything that isn't already out there. Before we get into it, big news today. The House voted yes. They voted yay. The yays have it and the nays did not. The nays being the Republican Party. Trump is going to be impeached, guys. It's going to happen. It's got to happen. He has been voted, they voted today to adopt the resolution that will next go to the Senate. Again, the Senate said yes, the House said yes. The Senate will now begin a trial of impeachment. The manager for this was also on the impeachment of Nixon, as well as the impeachment of Clinton. 7 heavy, hard-hitting litigators are going to be trying this. Nancy Pelosi already announced the announcement. Within an hour, Putin announced that the government of Russia has resigned, and he's now putting into place his own government people somehow. Apparently, this is something that happens in Russia. It's not new. It's not something that's never happened, but I thought that was very odd that this is going on right now. And so close to this impeachment thing. Coincidence? I don't know. You decide. So I'm not going to do the pendulum live because I've already done this twice. I'm going to read you the questions and tell you what my results were twice. This is absolutely ridiculous that I've had to record this now thrice. But this is Weird, Wild, Wacky Wednesday. So weird things always happen on Wednesdays. And here we go again. All right, so Cosmic Disclosure, if you don't know, it's a TV show that is on Gaia.com, and David Wilcock, who's a very famous researcher and author, is the host of the show. And the first 2 seasons, possibly first 3, I'm only on the 15th episode of the 2nd season. So for the first 2 seasons at least, Corey Goode, who is self-proclaimed as an insider to the secret space program, he has come on because it's time to disclose to humanity what is going on. So if you are not a member of Gaia and you haven't seen the show, I'm going to tell you some ideas that are, woo boy, doozies. These are doozies. Oh my God. Very interesting stuff. Number 1 question, let's hop right on into it. The first question I asked, and this is something he claimed, is that Hitler and the Nazis created a base on the dark side of the moon using reverse technology, reverse engineered ET, extraterrestrial technology, with the help of the Dracos and other bad cabal-like groups. So I asked this question: did Hitler and the Nazis create a base on the dark side of the moon in the 1930s? And the answer I got the first time I recorded this was yes. The second answer I got was yes. Muscle testing says yes as well. So I did this with the Pendulum, and now I'm doing muscle testing, and the answer is yes. God's like, yes, yes, yes. And apparently Hitler built this in the shape of a swastika, of course. Freaking of course. And they have since built it out. The secret space program has been going on since the 1930s, and it's been built out, and it doesn't really resemble a swastika anymore, but it still kind of exists there. The second question I asked was, did Hitler and the Nazis create a style of kind of a labor, like a slave labor style camp on Mars? And that question was too ridiculous for the Pendulum, and I kept getting a yes and a no and a maybe and a yes and no and a maybe, and I was like, okay, this is crazy. So, and I asked it in a different way, and I said, this is a new question I asked, was, is there today, living on Mars, a breakaway civilization that was originally created by Hitler and the Nazis? The answer was yes. To have Corey Goode tell the story, he said that people were made to believe that we are going to live a life kind of like the Jetsons. This was before the Jetsons, of course. In the 50s, they were taught or told that they were going to have flying cars and everything their hearts desired. With their replicators, they could have all the gold and money in the world, not that they need it. That they'll have everything they wanted, and they're going to become like the bright stars of the human race, basically. So, of course, the blonde-haired, blue-eyed beauties got flown up on a spaceship, and their stuff was sent over by portals and sent over to Mars. And they basically got there, and there were the people, the military people, the German soldiers, basically with arms, and they became like slaves, doing slave labor, doing the biddings of the Germans, and like digging stuff on Mars, and then later in asteroids and different things, mining and trading with other cultures, other ET races from all over the galaxy and or universe. So that was the story he told. So the question I asked was, did Hitler and the Nazis create a camp on Mars that was a breakaway civilization? And the answer I got 2 times to that question was yes. That happened. They're still there. At least their children or children's children. It makes it silly now, you know, when you watch movies like The Space Between Us, which I love that movie. It's about the first kid born on Mars and how he snuck back to Earth because he was interested in Earth. But he did have the internet from Earth that reached Mars. Well, they're in the middle of doing that now. I mentioned it in the first half. Starlink. Starlink, the 6G network. I mean, so some of the stuff is that we see, it's like there's disclosure happening in TV shows. It's happening in movies. It's happening. It's happening. So number 3, the question is the moon artificially created? This is something we addressed when I interviewed the spirit of the moon. There's a spirit of the moon because it's a natural body. Wouldn't have been a spirit of the moon if there had not been a natural body, but nonetheless, this idea persists, and it is in the records, according to Corey Good, that the moon was artificially created, and I got a no to that twice. Muscle testing says no. Number 4 was, okay, if the moon is real and natural, was it made to encircle the Earth in an unnatural and artificial way? And the answer was yes, and the muscle testing says yes. Is this to control the people? And I kept asking, or hormonal responses or tides of of the ocean and the hormonal responses of human animals. And I just got a mushy answer. I didn't get a yes or a no, or maybe it was just like wasn't doing anything. So I'm not going to second guess what was in the minds of other people that somehow tethered the moon to the Earth in a way that it only goes away from each other. The moon and the Earth go away from each other within centimeters. Like, no more than that. And that's unnatural. It's an unnatural rotation cycle. And so the answer I got was that they artificially made that cycle. But that the moon is not actually artificially created the way a lot of people believe. And it made a resounding wah sound when they landed on the moon. And I think that's just because it's hollowed out because there's so many underground civilizations living on the moon. So it appears artificial, but I don't think it really is. So number 5 question was there an ancient builder race that built things all over various moons and planets throughout our solar system? The answer I got twice was yes. And I asked, were they giants? And the answer was yes. And they were very big, very, very big. On the moon, there's a throne in a ruin on the dark side of the moon that's 60 feet tall, according to Corey Good. Thought that was weird. My next question, number 6, was, do the blue avian race the blue avian race of ETs exist? And the answer I got twice was yes. Do they have contact, or have they contacted Corey Good? I got yes twice. The blue avian race, if you don't know, they're like hominids like you or I, arms, legs, normal, except the upper parts of their shoulders they have blue feathers, and their heads are like birds, and they have feathers. That sounds really weird until you remember, oh wait, wasn't Thoth like that? And the ancient Greek hieroglyphs? Weird, right? Quite possibly, this is, there's a relation, or maybe, I don't know. It's just weird. It's weird to think about. But the answer was yes, they do exist. Yes, they did contact Corey Good. And my next question had a very mushy answer. Yes or no, maybe. My question was, does a secret space program exist? I had to revitalize the question, and then I got a yes answer to this when I said, is there a secret space program on the moon that exists that consists of many, many people from the planet Earth as well as other ET races? And the answer was yes. Twice I got the yes. Question 8 was, is there a solar warden policing our solar system to keep out unwanted extraterrestrial races? And the answer is yes. I got a yes twice. Question 9. Do many races live on the moon? I got a yes to that. By races, I mean ET races. Humans along with non-humans from other
galaxies, star systems, and planets? And the answer was yes. Twice I got a yes. Then I asked the same question of Mars. Do many different ET races, including humans, live on Mars right now? And the answer was yes. Yes, twice. All right, so moving right along to question 11. Can't believe I'm recording this for the third time. Okay, question 11 was, are there ancient portals that can transport us to the Pleiades? And are there ancient portals that can transport us to the moon? These are from the ancient builder race. Can they transport us to various places, basically? And I asked specifically about the Pleiades, and I got a yes twice. I asked, are there ancient portals that can transport us to the moon? I got a yes twice. I visited Amaru, which is an ancient portal site. There's one similar in Brazil and one similar in Bolivia. And there are many legends around that. I think I mentioned it in another episode last year during my first season of Metaphysical Soul Speak, the podcast. I sat there. I meditated inside that doorway. It was crazy. And I meditated in 3 different ways and got 3 different results. There were some electrical feelings I got in my body when I touched that gateway. Glad I didn't go to the moon. Glad I didn't go to the Pleiades, though. I mean, I got kids to look after. Being a single parent, you can't be pulling that kind of crap, right? See ya. Bye, kids. Here's my wallet. I don't need money where I'm going. That would have been crazy, right? But there's secrets throughout our world, and that's some of them. We do have ancient portals that will take us to the Pleiades. We do have ancient portals. They'll take us to the moon. Question is, how do we get back? And where in the Pleiades? Which planet are we going to land on? What will we find when we get there? Same thing with the moon. Woo! It sounds like, yay, let's go. And then, wait a minute, maybe we don't want to go. Question 12. If you put millions of volts of electricity into liquid mercury, will it turn to gold? I asked this question twice. I got a yes. Don't try this at home, kids. Millions of volts of electricity? Not safe. Mercury? Not safe. Probably best you just go gold panning. Question 13. Are there ancient ruins under the ice in Antarctica? Twice I got a yes to that. There are ancient ruins under the ice in Antarctica. And if you remember back last year, I did report that on Secure Team 10, the Obamas and the Clintons met other people in the Bilderbergers in Antarctica. I thought it was only ice and penguins, guys. Why were they there? Why were they there? Corey Good comes out and says, hey, of course there's ancient ruins. There's even bases there run by ETs, which is why the Nazis and Hitler went there in the first place, to negotiate information about the technology that now created a base on the moon and several bases on Mars for the breakaway civilization that they created. Well, when I asked this, are there ETs operating a base in Antarctica right now? I got a yes. Twice I got a yes. Question 15. Now, this is a really super long explanation, so let's get into it. Corey Good tells a tale that he worked for the secret space program. That he left his house one day and he went and he worked for them for 20 years. And at the end of the 20 years, they sent him back in time to the day he arrived. And they put him in stasis for 2 weeks. before sending him back in time, and they de-aged his body so that he would not have the appearance to family and friends that he had been gone for 20 years. That's what he claimed. Well, that sounds really crazy and far-fetched, but you guys remember, if you heard my Life in Andromeda Galaxy episode from the first season, that I had a weird experience very similar to that, where I was approached by beings from Andromeda. They said, "Are you willing to go with us? We would like to take you to our world, but we're going to come back and bring you here today. Or you're going to go live with us for a long time." And I went and I lived with them for 20 years, and they brought me back 5.5 hours later to Earth. But that was more an astral thing and not physical. But I created a physical body once I got there. They helped me. And I lived in a physical body. I think I was taller. I made myself thinner and taller. Maybe with dark brown hair even, instead of red hair. I think I changed my appearance a little bit. But they helped me do it. And I lived out 20 years. And I lived a whole life. A whole lifetime. I had a man interest, but I knew I was married on Earth, so I said I could not marry. And he respected me, and I learned about their culture, their society, their fruits and vegetables, their, everything about their planet, everything. And then they came back and deposited me back into my body, into my bed. They hugged me, and they were crying when they said goodbye, and I was crying when I said goodbye to them. And I woke up, and I barely recognized the people that were around me. My 2 kids that were little, very little, and my husband, and I barely recognized him. It shocked me. It felt weird and foreign, like I'd been gone 20 years. It was a very weird experience. So, it's not outside the realm of possibility. If I had a weird experience like that, and he had this experience where he worked for the government for 20 years in a secret space program, and then they made him young again and then sent him back in time, and according to his wife, he's only gone 5 or 6 hours. Now he's got a pension. I mean, win all the way around, right? I mean, it's like pretty crazy. But I asked this question: have people worked 20 years for the secret space program and then spend 2 weeks in a form of stasis to de-age them so that they appear the same as no time had passed, and then sent back in time where only 5 to 6 hours had passed? The answer I got to that question was yes, twice. And I broke it down and asked each individual part of it, and the answer was yes. All the way across the board, guys. It's real. Very weird, right? Question 16 was, does my lab, military abductions, do my lab sometimes work with the secret space program? Twice I got a yes. Probably because I asked this question twice, my recording was erased before I could even get it to you guys. I talked about my lab extensively. I'm not going to do that a third time, lest this one be erased, and I want to get to Star Wars, damn it. I want to go see that movie today. We're not going to talk about my lab right now. So question 17, the final question that I asked, and with the follow-up questions, this ends up being 21 questions in total. Are there plasma cloud beings in our solar system that have intelligence? It's another claim Corey Good made. Ding, ding, ding. Yes. There are plasma cloud beings that they discovered have intelligence. The plasma clouds just kind of come on over and they kind of observe us, I guess. I don't know if it happens on Earth. They discovered this out near Neptune, Saturn, those areas, I guess. Very weird, right? Now, I've seen this spoken of in Star Trek, different episodes of Star Trek, and he did claim in the episode I was watching today that people are given this cosmic disclosure secretly in quote-unquote fictional works such as Babylon 5, Battlestar Galactica. And I also would dare venture a guess as to say through Gene Roddenberry and all of his works. Cosmic Disclosure is the name of the show on Gaia. I encourage you guys to watch it. I think that it's real. I think this stuff is real. I think it's coming out. He claims that there's a certain faction in government that they want it out in the secret space program government, not normal government. But countries all over the world, all over Earth, have people. They all have a stake in this. They all have a stake in this. At first, there's going to be a lot of anger. I mean, we don't have replicators yet. People are still starving. They could fix the weather. They could fix everything. But they've got to first disclose it to us. And now, what I'm looking at is 5 years old. I don't know what the newer episodes hold for us and what the information is. I can only report to you what I was curious about and I wanted to ask a Pendulum about, and I thought I might as well make it a show. And so I have. It's a lot of information to process if you have never heard of this stuff. If this is your first time hearing this stuff, it's wild. Isn't it wild? It's Weird Wacky Wednesday, guys, and this was the show I did for Weird Wednesday. Wild, wild, crazy stuff. I don't know. I hope that this creates a lot of fun and maybe sparks some debates among you and your friends. Gives you something fun and wild to think about. But the reason why they wanted to do Cosmic Disclosure, the secret space program sent him as the ambassador of disclosure, is because there's certain factions that now feel that it's time humanity has a piece of the pie. We've been slaves to the Babylonian magic money system for too long. It's time we all have replicators. Am I right? Are you high-fiving me secretly? Through the air virtually right now? It's time. It's time. It's time that we become the galactic humans we were born to be. It's time. So I hope you've enjoyed this episode of Metaphysical Soul Speak the podcast. It's weird. It's a weird one. I know. It's very weird. But I don't know, you guys. I've got a passion for this stuff. It's just like, it just burns in my mind at night. I can't sleep. I get so excited about it. It's so incredible. Oh, God. I hope that you're happy and healthy today. I hope that you are loving yourself and being compassionate with others as well as yourself. And that you don't get too angry over the information I've shared with you today. If you believe it, part of you will get angry, but let that pass. And just allow yourself to be washed over with a feeling and energy of hope. Because the more this gets out there, the faster all this stuff comes to us. The technologies we need to save our world and our people. And the faster we become galactic humans, and eventually we are going to have time travel. Eventually we are going to have space travel and portal travel. And it's already been done. And the mistakes have already been made. And people have died in the name of technology progression already. By the time we're told about it, it's going to be safe. I'm so excited about that, and I hope you are too. If you have any questions, comments, or ideas for upcoming shows, you may always write me at metaphysicalsoulspeak@gmail.com. I'll be back tomorrow with all unique and original programming, just like always. I think I might be channeling tomorrow, but I'm not sure. We'll see if Michael Sherahan of Ashtar Command and the Palladian Light Forces which is a whole nother thing away from the Secret Space program. Or see what he has to say. I know he's listening to my show. I know it. I feel it. And he comes and visits me quite often. He's my Pleiadian Ascension partner. We all have them, all of us starseeds. We are assigned a Pleiadian who comes and helps us with the hard stuff. So if you think you're a starseed, ask for your Pleiadian helper to come and help you get through some of these Ascension symptoms we're all feeling. I think it might be helpful. Remember to get plenty of sleep, drink plenty of water, eat fresh, organic produce, take your minerals, drink your electrolytes, sleep well, me hearties, sleep well. Hopefully this is the third time being the charm situation. I can publish this quickly and get on out the door because my son and I want to go see that movie. I love you guys. I'll see you soon. I'll be back tomorrow, like I said. But right now I'm signing off with peace and joy and the high vibes of the holy fifth dimension. Until next time, guys, peace. Metaphysical Soul Speak is run on sponsors and listener support. This means listeners like you. If you are so inclined to support my efforts and my little podcast, please visit me at anchor.fm/metaphysical and pledge an amount of your choosing today. Thank you.